As we continue right here, you're still in tune to the Buzz 268 right here on WTP 93.5 and 93.7 FM. Ooh-wee. It's a beautiful weather outside. I'm telling you, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful weather outside. Yeah. Now, I realized recently, since a young lady literally got us thinking plasticky. Yeah, call it plasticky. From since then, everywhere I go and I see a plastic bottle, I just remember her. I just, automatically it's like, hey, fix up yourself, fix up a backyard, fix up the country. You understand? And everywhere I go and I see a plastic bottle or plastic container, automatically, I just remember her. I just think of her and the work that she has been doing. So, what better way? I just found out just the other day that some bad-minded person, some narrow-minded person, some how you want to put it? How you want to put it? Somebody who just not like, I either don't like her or just don't like the fact that something good is happening, something good is going on. They decide that they're going. I don't understand people. This woman is working without getting paid from the government to assist the government with cleaning up and instead of using all that plastic that is not going to be eroded, or should I say, for lack of a better word, to go down to the landfill and will cause another distress again. She has decided to take it upon herself and have a number of volunteers to assist her to go and deal with this. And no, some bad-minded, thinking, dirty, you are use them kind of words.
You're like me. In the public space, you can't get ghetto and just cut people and tear your back up.
Yeah.
Lord, a woman from Grace Farm. She clean the Francine. You can't knock no Francine from there.
Oh, gosh, I'm trying.
You can't just be angry.
No.
And you are so right in so many different ways. The Good Human 268 by chance, nobody knows who we are. All that we do is designed to give individuals with disabilities jobs. Mm-hmm. And we started what we call our Student Community Service Program.
Yes.
I've been a teacher for 9 years. So 2 days ago, I celebrated 10 years in the government.
Oh, wow.
But the last year, I haven't really been, I wouldn't even tell anybody, I haven't been teaching the traditional principles of accounts and principles of business. I've been teaching waste management. The idea is we want to get students to the place just like you, and you're not the only person. Because of the work that we've been doing, a lot of people are now very conscious. When they see a bottle or when they see something somewhere, they call them like, "Must so-and-so, must plenty tackling."
Yes.
And a lot of people now very conscious of the environment because of the work that we've been doing.
That is true.
We have been issued a cleanup order. The date has already passed. However, I will say to anybody, I am a businesswoman. So any dealings that I have with the government is not the public's business. I am going to write, I am going to show up to meetings, and I am going to do what I have to do, because that is what you do when you're negotiating. You don't negotiate in the public. Because what happens when you negotiate in the public is the public doesn't have the full story. Mm-hmm. The public gets a piece or a clip or a picture. However, myself and the government agency would have the entire picture, and so even in that, it's not always glitz and glam. So we have been in negotiation with the government even before the inception of the program, and we're still trying to negotiate with the government. Mm-hmm. I'm a teacher, so I fall under the Ministry of Education. I applied to be moved from education to social transformation. There's a unit there called the disability unit that I would like to work in. Oh. The reason being, all that we do is to give individuals with disabilities jobs. There are millions of dollars out there that we can access in grant funding to get programs off the ground. So I applied to be transferred, and I was not transferred. For the first 2 years of my life, I've been able to teach, and I've also been able to do Good Humans 268. And last year summer, I called, because I wanted to be transferred, and I was not. And I will say to anybody, I am very spiritual. Something in me said, just should not let go. I walked into Clear Brown's office the first day school was open, and I was willing to resign. All that was going to happen that day, I'm going to resign, I'm going to get unpaid leave, or I'm going to get transferred. I was not transferred, and I was given the option for unpaid leave. Clear Brown said to me, what I can do for you is I can give you unpaid leave, write the letter, effective immediately. I thought that our government would have put things in place and I would have been transferred by December, so I would have only been losing 3 months' salary. To date, I have not been transferred and I have not been paid.
You ain't get transferred yet?
No transfer, no pay. So like I just ensure people of Antigua and Barbuda know I have been giving, I have been working, I've been showing up without a salary. And that is because, one, very spiritual, you cannot grow a business and have 1 foot out and one foot
in. Yes.
I want good humans to get to the place where we're on 50 acres of land, 35 acres for a farm, 5 acres for our nursery, and 10 acres for a state-of-the-art compound. That is not going to come if I have to go to the government workplace to teach the children POA and POB.
Yes.
That is going to work when I can show up to meetings at 10 o'clock in the morning. Like right now, I just showed up. We have 44 homes down in Cherry Bay and Deep Bay area. They have signed on 44 homes, paying $45 a month because we're trying to become self-sustainable. I couldn't show up to events like this if I had to go to work.
Yeah.
There are lots of meetings, like for instance, CDB. Dwayne Simon called me, and I had 2 meetings with CDB about possibly getting $200,000 in grant funding to enhance waste management in Antigua and Barbuda. Even if we don't get the money, I had to be in those meetings, and those meetings were happening during school time.
Yeah.
I had to go to luxury locations. The expo that was happening down at UWI, and lots of things that has been happening. If I was in the classroom, it would not
have happened. It would have never happened.
What you have to do is, and as one of the permanent secretaries, Joshua, to deserve your pay, the government needs to go cabinet and then need to pass one something that every desk for back to you from September because you've been working for Antigua and Barbuda. Some way, I will say to anybody, like I've said on all of my interviews, it is not perfect. It is not perfect. However, what we have done, we started.
That is true. That is
once
true.
you start, just like every billionaire in this country, you're going to face hurdles.
Of course.
You're going to have to negotiate. And you really have 2 choices. You're going to go back in your shell and forget about it, me going back to teach. Or you're going to tug it out. You're going to find a way to make it work. And there's a child in Potter's Primary, her name is Diana. When I went to do the initial school tour, I came across her story, and every time that child had to go to the bathroom for 4 years, she had to ask somebody for help because there was no access to the bathroom.
Oh, wow.
And I go beg, I call everybody, I go, and there's no one access to the bathroom in Potter's Primary. Bear in mind, I have not been the only one lobbying, but I have lobbied the hardest and the longest to pass. Put a phone number, make a show up their office, make a do everything.
Yeah.
I then went to I had a meeting with the port, and I spoke to Darwin Telemac, and I said to them, there's a need for a ramp to grade 6. Again, I have to beg for a ramp to grade 6. Then I have to beg for how we upgrade Sir Novel. I have to beg because when she become an adult, she need a car.
Yes.
She need a house. She need a land. The wheelchair that she in her, I beg one wheelchair give she.
Wow.
Because while she is one person, I want to help she and I want to help every other person who has a disability in this country. And somebody, they didn't come and try to let us have a meeting outside of the public. Somebody called me Sunday. I'm like, Joshua, you know that you were on the news. Myself, I was on the news. We were issued the cleanup order April the 2nd, and at none of my interviews did I mention it because you don't talk about things in the public.
But I couldn't left that one alone because that is just bad-mindedness. I couldn't left it alone, tall.
But it's now in the public because a statement was made by the Deputy Chief Health Inspector, and his exact words were, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And John Hughes is a landfill, and we can harbor possibly 40 types of diseases from rats, and we can harbor mosquitoes, and
So wait, they're not harbor mosquito all the time until them something they reach?
You see the question, how much place in the Antigua are we illegally dump garbage?
All over Antigua, them dump garbage all over the place.
Antigua have water where that mosquito can breed.
How much time you go out to the back, all the back, Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, all behind the all kind of sudden. How come them not talk about that?
Okay, but first thing first, let me ensure on the record, I said John Hughes is not a landfill. Nobody in the last year that we have been there has ever come to John Hughes and dump any garbage. Ask Isaac. Ask the lady who lives in front of us. Nobody has ever dumped any garbage in John Hughes. That's number one. Number two, we are not in the waterway. If one category 5 hurricane hit Antigua and Barbuda right now,
you not touched near now by John Hughes.
Two back of the move, that could be fear. Two back of the move. But again, we now deal with a full person. We already have a plan. The plan last year was we're going to cover them. The plan this year is we're going to cover them. And we would create a barricade. So if there is a hurricane, there is a mechanism in place to try our best to protect the bottles from getting
Of course. Hold on. The Tracy asks, why did it have to be in the public domain? I'm confused. Tracy, this was not something that was done by Miss Francis. Yes, Omari, yes. Because I say Joshy this morning, he said, Miss Francis, for you, please. All right, no problem. So, Miss Francis, she was not the one that brought it out into the public. Because when she was given the order, she knew about, I didn't even know about the order until I actually literally heard about it from someone talking about it. So, nobody knew about it until it was overheard on the news itself, right? And then from the news, it started going around. So people start realizing, okay, this is what's happening. Now,
people are now asking questions about the integrity of the program and what the government is doing.
Exactly.
And I am saying, Tracy, or whoever commented,
Tracy,
the order was issued April the 2nd. I have written my first letter to the government asking for help November 11th.
Okay.
How much time you call me walk around Antigua and Barbuda, me gone this place. I have never mentioned it because it's not the public's business.
Right.
However, it is now the public's business.
Because somebody...
He gone and say what he have to say. So me have to ensure people know he lies.
Exactly what I go on.
When you record here, tell Joshua and Amber Louise Francis.
Amber Louise, isn't it the second MB?
Patricia Henry, Joseph Francis, Lois who not done school, Joseph who ride donkey, the black girl from John Hughes who not hand on degree and come from Norway. Say you lie. You lie and you're bad-minded. Make sure they say, quote me. Quote me. But say you lie and we are not in the waterway. We do not have a landfill.
Joshnet, that two disease gone bad there, lion bad minded, them bad, you know.
I'm encouraging the public to come to John Hughes. I want people to come to John Hughes and see where we are.
Where in John Hughes?
Where the waterway is.
Where in John Hughes is we in a waterway?
First right turn into the village.
Yes.
We are not in the waterway.
But we want to know where that there.
Garbage down there.
Remember
to the village.
Remember me used to live John Hughes too, you know?
Okay.
Right, so me know exactly.
When you're coming down Sweet, you're going to turn up the road to go to Stockholm by Lovely Lane.
By who?
The lady that sells jams and jellies right down
because you done got me Basil from the time you tell me about Sackos, you know. Me even know where the hell Sackos there.
That road right there, there's an old excavator parked on the side there. You're gonna turn up that road right there, and there's a sign on a lamppost that says Good Human 268, and then you're gonna make the first right turn. I want you to come and experience what we would have put on for the King's Baton, a recycling expo, encouraging individuals in Antigua and Barbuda to recycle and have better waste management practices.
So after all that, you want to tell me them not see that I understand what go on?
No, number one, I'm encouraging people to come. come to John Hughes, and when you come to John Hughes, I want you to see where we're situated, and you're going to know we are not in the waterway. That is a lie. We do not have a landfill. That is a lie. There is a possibility for mosquitoes and roaches. However, we pay a lovely lady who comes and she puts down some boxes. When you come to John Hughes, you might see some boxes. I'm going to post and check my status.
Yes.
The woman come and she put down rat poison because that is also a thing. So we, again,
just to make sure,
we have been collecting the content from the schools. And the idea is the content should be sorted. So John Hughes, the problem that we're having with John Hughes is the money to pay people. So we get one little money, and for the last 3 weeks, we've been paying people in John Hughes to sort the bottles and move them.
Okay.
So the government of Antigua and Barbuda and Good Human Services, again, this is not the public business. I went plenty meeting, plenty chatting, plenty begging. The government gave us $60,000 back in September. The government gave me some workmen. And we moved bottles from John Hughes to Antigua and Barbuda Waste Recycling Corporation. And the agreement was, and still is, we're going to give you bottles and you're going to give us some money. However, when we moved the bottles, we sorted the bottles incorrectly. We sorted the bottles based on the ABREC standard and not the Plastic Free Initiative standard. So that is on time, money, manpower. Indira James, who's the general manager of solid waste, said you cannot sort them based on the ABREC standard. You have to sort them over. So you can imagine 2-3 weeks. We have start one back and I have to restart them.
Right,
so you recognize the money that are gone.
They done gone a long time.
Yeah. Okay. Now we have to sort the bottles based on the plastic free standard. They want the bottles to be clean. My fight.
So hold on. So you have to literally take every one of them out, wash them out, and pack them.
Okay. But the story gets more complex than that. Let us, if the government is only paying us for certain types of bottles, iCool, Oasis, Guntrop, Soda, so like 11 brands. They don't pay for the Clorox bottle. They don't pay for the dish liquid bottle. They don't pay for Gatorade. So when you're going to a school, we collect all of the bottles.
Yeah.
They go into a bag. So I want you to envision we have a bag with 100 bottles in there.
And you still have to sort every one of them.
You sort the bottles, and the 10 bottles that we get paid for, we have to wash them. And then we are crushing them with the dirty bottles. So remember, I'm an outsider, so I never knew that this was happening.
Yeah.
When I got to Abrek, I'm a recognizer. Tripping it out, we do. My message, Indira. My card, I say, Indira, we are crushing clean bottles and dirty bottles together. I send she pictures, I send she videos, because it's not making sense. I message Mario Bento. Mario Bento, it's over Abrek. And I explained to Mario exactly what I just explained. One bag having 100 bottles. We're taking out 20 bottles, washing the 20 bottles, and then we're going to crush them with the dirty bottles. Mario Bento, who's over Abrek, so just like that don't make no sense. And every person that I've spoken to is also saying that don't make no sense.
Yeah.
In a meeting, instead of us trying to make it make sense, you know what I am told? You are the problem, Josh Finette, because you want for outside a dine and you want for in the kitchen. Bear in mind now, remember, Susan, that analogy is, when I wasn't at Abrek, I just sent my bottles clean. I never asked no question. But now I am at Abrek, I'm going to recognize that I'm a crush dirty bottle. I want to change the system.
Right.
But I said in the meeting, when we have to sort the bottles and wash them, we're taking manpower. That is money. We're buying water. That is money. If we are a small island developing state and have limited resources, and there's no need for the bottles to be washed, why are we washing them?
Yes, that's only common sense.
We can renegotiate the 20 cents. We can come to some common consensus because what we're doing isn't making sense. The government of Antigua and Barbuda also gives Good Humans 268 workmen. The workmen start to come to us in John Hughes, the 24th of July, 2024. I am told the workmen are going to come to you for 3 days. They should be there from 7 a.m. to 2. The workmen, me know them, they don't work to 2 o'clock, them, they don't work 12 o'clock every day. The workmen, and then so them, they not start, not they John Hughes off start, then they Abrek. I'm an understanding person. Okay, we're going to go to Abrek and start. However, this 12 o'clock thing now work with me. So again, call Indira. Indira, we had like a problem. That the workman and then now work the hours that you tell me. You are telling me one thing and the workmen are telling me and doing another. Remember, these workmen are being paid by the government of Antigua and Barbuda.
Exactly, yes.
The workmen are supposed to get to work for 7 o'clock. Two of them, at first it was one, Samuel are the only one. Four of them I have, and Samuel are the only one who come for 7 o'clock. They can depend because Samuel catch the bus. So Samuel, no, once he missed the Coolidge bus day,
that's it.
He now get to work.
Yeah.
The rest of them don't come for 7 o'clock. One of them come 9 o'clock almost every day. They leave at 12. Me personally have a conversation with the man of them, and I said, if you leave here at 12 o'clock every day for 5 days, that's 10 hours. If you come here late every day, that's another 5 hours, that's 15 hours. Plus all the breaks that you take for next hour, that means I don't got 20 hours. If workmen are supposed, remember the government give me money now, and me need to meet a commitment to the government now. If you give me workman for 5 days, and out then come to work the 5 days, but out of the 5 days, they're only working 20 hours, are we being productive? Are we making sense? How can we take taxpayers' money, pay workmen for 40 hours that are not working 40 hours?
No,
so, like the good citizen that I am,
you still sign the paper them that they bring for you for say that they come to work.
And then I go to the people above me, because remember, I don't hire them. So I can't fire them, but I go to the people above me. And I say, this you can't work. Which in fairness, every Antiguan for vex. You know what, make a taxpayer's money you pay them.
Yeah, exactly.
How is it fair that you are paying people from taxpayers' money who are not working the hours that they should work? And I know a lot of people come with the notion, oh, that is how it goes, that is Antigua.
No.
One citizen that believes these things happen because people do not report them.
Exactly.
We're not writing up people and we're not doing what we're supposed to do. The reality is, Indira James, who's the general manager, she wouldn't know that. She don't have breath, so she wouldn't know that. She wouldn't know that them are crushed dirty battles. So it's now my responsibility to report that to you.
Of course.
And now it's your responsibility, even if you don't want to deal with it, pass them on to HR.
At least you don't do your job, you know. You don't let them know as well go on.
I no longer have workmen, and we have...
Lord, hold my tongue.
So in this country...
Oh, Lord.
I, Joshua and Amber Louis Francis, I am a problem. You know why?
Because you talk up?
Because it's a norm for people to work in this country and they don't actually work, but they get paid.
They get the money.
And how dare you want people to work?
No,
CJ, remember, the public of Antigua and Barbuda never know all this happen now.
Yeah.
Because when you talk to me, what I am talking about behind closed doors is not the public's business.
Not for them business.
So obviously, with situations like these, there have been delays in sorting the battles. There's been delays. So we have battles in John Hughes. I, Joshua and Amber Louis Francis, I have been begging Tom, Dick, Harry, Susie, Sal. I got up January 1st, and for 8 days, I walked around Antigua and Barbuda. I've written proposals. I've shown up to meetings because you know what? Failure is not an option.
That's true.
So even if we're having a little hostility and no progress with the government, let us think of ways that we can solve the problem. Because remember I said there's a child in Potters, there's Jermaine, there's Kimoy, there is several other people that I've personally met who have disabilities. And the success of this program in the long run, we're going to give them jobs. I can get insurance. We're going to put one car. So long run, it's going to make sense. I still myself, Joshua Net Francis, Kelisha Pickett, Maverick Francis, Patricia Henry, Trisha Wilson, Naomi Gregg. Then there was Kevon King and there was Jermaine Jones. In September, the team was 8. We were paid September 15th, September 30th, and October 15th. Nobody get no money after that. Can no more money come? However, we've all been given because the vision is bigger than we now get paid. You know, I'll get in the joke at one point. I'm saying, when I started to work for the government, I actually worked for 3 months without pay.
What?
Look, that is how, and ask any government workers, a lot of people, when you start the process for you to get your money, you work for 3 months and you get paid. So I'm telling you, just need to hold on and we're going to get the money. And myself and Naomi were sitting under the tent in John Hughes, starting bus. I'm just like, we need to figure out how we're going to make money outside of the 20 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And we come up with eco communities and we come up with eco businesses. And I said to her, when it's tourism season, we need to have something that tourists can come and pay us to see. And then I started to think, what is an international thing? Guinness World Book record.
So once you set that
not
up,
paid.
yes.
So you have to be very spiritual. So because we were not paid, what we started to do was think of ways to make money.
To make money, yeah.
So we did the unofficial Guinness World Book record attempt. And then we reached Oasis has partnered with us, so we did some events. And it's now, how do we make money? We came up with the model of the households, and we have 44 homes here down in English Harbour who've joined the program. 9 bins over Jolly Harbour. Jolly Harbour has 520 homes. So myself and Camilla, we're talking about how we can get all these homes to pay us $45 per month. I remember I don't have no money now.
Right.
We don't have money now, but you can't give up yet. If we get each household in Antigua and Barbuda to pay us $45 per month, we can generate $15 million every year.
Good.
If all events and all businesses and everybody and then Granny gets into the program where we're charging every ticket that we sell for every event $1, every tourist that comes here, we're going to collect $1 for waste management, and businesses are going to submit what we call waste management plans, we can generate $53 million for Antigua and Barbuda.
Oh, wow.
So remember, I don't have no money and nobody get paid. But as a leader and as a business person, what has to happen is you have to think of ways to generate revenue and move from point A
to point B. Right.
Because we were not paid, I remember vividly saying in one of the meetings, I'm glad I didn't get paid. Because when the government gave us that $60,000 and we had the meetings, I did not think of outside the box, because I'm like, okay, I don't have no money, the money problem solved. The government, I will give the government the back of them, so I don't have a problem no more. However, the government stopped giving us the money, so now I was forced to think of how do we make money.
Yeah.
Commonwealth Games, the King's Battle was in John Hughes, and there are lots of big things happening, and that's because we did not have any money. So now I'm now working and thinking of ways to generate revenue, because generating revenue is how we're going to pay people.
Understand. I like that.
So again, this is not the public's business. So I've sent out plenty broadcasts. I've talked about it, because now what we need is households to sign up, businesses to sign up, and promoters to come on board.
That's right.
Because what will happen is, as time progresses, we're going to become bigger and bigger and bigger with regards to how we handle the situation. So even when we were issued this cleanup order, Tajik came to John Hughes, and just like you, I gave everybody the story. Anybody who I've given the story to,
understand
they're
exactly.
all asking the same questions. Why do we have two starting standards? Why are the workmen not working? Why are we crushing clean and dirty bottles together? Because these are common sense questions. These are the questions that we ask, because if we want something to work, we have to ask the questions, why is it not working? And how can we solve the problem?
Right.
I leave from John Hughes, and Tasha said to me, they issued it to me the Wednesday, you can't come tomorrow to the meeting. Come next week, Thursday. I go, because again, that is how negotiations work. You don't get an order and you get on social media and you curse.
Nope.
You go and you have a conversation behind closed doors. So I go to CBH and I have a conversation. There's Tajay, Daryl Spencer is in the meeting, and the Deputy Chief Health Inspector Sharon is also in the meeting.
Mm.
Sharon was actually on her phone. She was in and out of the meeting for the beginning. At the end part, Sharon asked me that same question. Just what you mean I had two starting standards? Then Sharon said, just let them give 60,000 and then again on money. Because what the work that you're required to do, that $60,000 in money.
Nothing.
She then said to me, write us. Because at this point, we have nothing in writing.
Mm.
This is so then, give me a second. I write a letter to CBH the 16th of April. Because again, it is not the public's business. I write and I personally deliver the letter to her. The lady at the booth, you can't park it here, or you want me to give her the letter. I said, no, I'm going to walk up the stairs, and I want to ensure that I give it to her, because I know how this system works. Sometimes you give the letter, and then I reach the person.
Right. Yep.
I said to her, in her secretary office, she'll give it to my secretary, I'm going to read it. However, when I get back, we're going to have a conversation. She has a funeral to go to. She will read the letter and she will get back to me. Remember, you called me CJ and I was representing Antigua and Barbuda, not Josh Net Francis, representing Antigua and Barbuda at OEC Environmental Expo at the UV.
Yes.
I meet Sharon again, and Sharon says she haven't been able to get to the letter, but when she comes back, we're going to have a conversation.
How far the letter there? What mean she able to get to the letter?
She don't get to the letter yet. When she come back, she could get it. Because remember, people busy.
Right.
So this is the ending of May, the 28th. Again, I have not made any public statement. I have not made any social. I show up and represent Antigua and Barbuda at an OEC forum with no money. How am I wash my clothes?
Oh.
How am I put gas in my vehicle? How am I pick me go to school?
How you bathe?
No. How am I bathe? How am I brush my teeth? But no, I still show up and represent our good country, because that is what citizens are supposed to do.
Right?
You get up and you show up.
Yeah.
I speak to Sharon again, so now I'm waiting to have a conversation, and I said to her, what we need is to have a round table discussion with all of the parties involved so that we can plot a way forward. Because what is happening at APREC with Good Humans and with the National Solid Waste Management Authority, we have not been able to see eye to eye.
Yeah.
I leave the meeting. I don't have nothing to say to the public. However, last week, Sunday, I am told, and the clip that y'all heard me saying that, because I have spoken about it. I spoke about it because Sandal Foundation is our fund. That's a Sandal Foundation. I have spoken about it to Jeff Smallgrant. I have spoken about it. But the people that I've spoken to about it to are not the people who
talk business.
Okay.
Right.
So the clip that you heard me saying, and in all my interviews, I keep saying failure is not an option. Failure is not an option. Yeah. What we do, we cannot fail. There's a child in Potter's Prime, there's Kimoy, and there are lots of individuals with disabilities who are depending on the success of this program.
Exactly.
So now, what? I call me Yai Kishan, call me son. Mr. Kishan, a Jan News, my Mother's Day. Very stubborn. They reached out to me about a company coming to John Hughes, not like a shung company, coming to John Hughes to see the work that we have been doing.
Yeah.
I want to ensure it is in order for when they get here. So Mother's Day, I am in John Hughes. I say, you think it's fear?
On Mother's Day?
On Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Maverick Francis, right now, he pan the truck. And he go cook, dump out some liquid. Patricia Henry is here. Lois Henry is here. And people are here working without pay. Giving the government. Giving the government. Giving. Because the work that we're doing, not for Good Humans 268, is for Antigua and Barbuda.
Yes.
And I think it's famous. The Saturday I was going to a Sky Tiger cleanup. And I was passing Diana on the road. And I turned back. And I go back to Diana and I said, I spoke to the lady at Luxury Location. Father God, I can't remember the woman's name now. I'm saying, no, I want cheer for Diana. You know, I'm going to go back for my salary. I'm going to want cheer for Diana. I'm going to put the phone in front of my face. I'm going to record the video. And I said, Nadia, this is the young lady I was speaking to about the cheer. And I said to her, ironically, we're right over from Potter's Prime. This is where I'm telling you we need the ramp for.
Yeah.
And I send Nadia from Luxury Locations the video. And I drive to Sky Tiger Cleanup. Because again, the public doesn't need to know that me and the government, they don't need to know.
Exactly.
All they need to see is the newspaper articles and the pictures that we're doing work.
Right. And they have been seeing that too as well.
Because that is how you build a brand.
Of course.
That is how you get sponsors. That is how we get Antigua and Barbuda on the map. Dwayne Simon he works at the Department of Environment. Again, I probably should not mention him. I'm going to show people how much work we've been doing on the background. He calls me about a possible project with waste management. I'm at the first consultation, and I said to the guy, this is the idea, and, I would have to run some figures to see how much it would cost. And the man said, you think it'll cost about $200,000? I'm going to say, remember, you were talking about that. I'm saying, about that. And I did the first consultation. And I did a second consultation. And when the people them come here, they want to talk about how they can possibly give Antigua and Barbuda. Not just the money is going to come to good humans, but the money is given to Antigua and Barbuda to improve waste management.
Wow.
To ensure that cooks, at least 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe longer, the National Solid Waste Management Authority had to release a press release saying that the landfill was on fire. They were able to contain the fire. They apologized for the air quality. How many of those press releases have we read, have we seen? The landfill is a problem. It needs to be fixed. And how it is fixed is by us stop sending everything there. We cannot send everything to the landfill, mix up like a cook soup, and expect greatness. So, little old Joshua, who thought this was a little project, who have now learned it's not a little project, it's a very big undertaking. I am here. I gave it to the government. I gave it to everybody. This is an idea. The idea isn't a Joshuanet idea. I spoke to Barbados Solid Waste Management Authority. I spoke to St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority. I spoke to Glass Half Full. I spoke to the people who designed the machine. I've been speaking to lots of different people on how we can improve our waste management in Antigua and Barbuda. Because improving our waste management in Antigua and Barbuda is how we're going to provide jobs. It is how that in the next 10 years, we're not going to have dirty beaches. It's how in the next 10 years, we can possibly say the landfill is not on fire. So while I have not been paid, and there's a team behind me who's also not paid, working, talking, negotiating, doing things for the betterment of Antigua and Barbuda. There are people, Daryl Spencer, to be specific, who's going to get on the airwaves and make official statements that are lies instead of trying to help us. The bottles in John Hughes, I want them moved. I have written letters after letter after letter. I've gone to meetings asking, begging for help. Because it is bigger than our paychecks. It's bigger than Antigua and Barbuda. However, instead of coming and trying to help me, to help Antigua and Barbuda, you get on the airways and try to bash me. You get on the airways and then be like, oh, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Who you think you be, a big God? You big God?
Oh, good
you
Lord.
were once the plastic point person for Antigua and Barbuda. You were once the general manager for the National Solid Waste Management Authority. You are now the deputy chief. Your job is to help people like Good Humans 268. Your job is to help solve the problems with waste in Antigua and Barbuda. That's what taxpayers' money you pay you for.
Yeah.
But instead of coming to John Hughes and hearing my side of the story and figuring out a way to help the problem,
Just jump up. Yeah. Just jump up and just say how I want to say it.
And then again, how can you send a cleanup order and ask for things to be removed in 30 days? It is humanly impossible. It is humanly impossible to move them in 30 days. No matter how I'll try, you know why? We are not the end all and be all. We have to move them to Abrek. So we still are working at Abrek speed. Food Humans 268. We moved 195 bags to Abrek last week.
Wow.
195 bags. And today I can't move the next bag to Abrek. We have to wait on them.
To tell you when to bring again.
Tell me when to bring more back.
Yeah.
So again, if you were truly doing their job and you truly understood the process of recycling, and anybody I will tell, recycling is a process. Recycling isn't just collecting. Step 1, education. Step 2, collection. Step 3, sorting. Step 4, cleaning. Step 5, processing. 6, manufacturing. 7, resale. 8, continuous improvement.
All right.
There is no way we can sort, wash, and process all of the content in John Hughes in 30 days. Impossible. However, it can be done in maybe 90 days.
Oh.
And in order for it to be done in 90 days, we need the government.
Need the manpower.
We
need the manpower.
And how you get manpower now? Money for people?
Exactly.
But again, Joshua Net Francis isn't sitting down waiting on the government.
Of course.
I applied to Jumbi Bay Fund, Calvin Ear Foundation. I applied to All Road Fund. I applied to Antigua and Barbuda Foundation, Environmental Foundation. I applied to Sir Andy Roberts Fund.
Mm-hmm. They check Halo Foundation as well too.
The big Halo. Because the government, remember the government don't give me 60 and then they give me no more money. No. So now I am looking outside for money. The people from Antigua and Barbuda Environmental Foundation, when I was down at UB, Issa, Diana, they came down there and we were all having a conversation about how we can improve plastics in Antigua and Barbuda. So I already sent in my application and I thought that it would have already been approved. Issa said to me, wait until at the end of the month. So although the government, so me now sit down and wait until the government has to give out the money now.
You do what you have to do in the meantime.
Me a beg Big Harry, Susie, Sal, everybody. Me can't beg somebody some money and I can pay somebody like $100 every day, which we have been doing for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because the bottles have to be moved. And how we move the bottles is by paying people.
Oh boy.
Instead of you as the Deputy Chief Health Inspector try to assist me because our workman that can be given to us.
Right.
The men at Abrek, who we no longer have, why not just get them to the place of working the hours that they should work and make our work with them?
All right.
So instead of giving me the workman, you think that you're punishing me. You think that you're punishing me because you're not going to give me workmen who are not working because you don't want to tell them that they should work. Because in Antigua and Barbuda, we are going to pay people who are not working and we're okay with that. So instead of trying to correct the issue, you will say, which I'm going to tell you what they say about me, and I like to tell people that when you have these phone calls, because then if I speak to somebody else from CBH, when you have these phone calls, whether it was India or Daryl, they're going to tell you she come in the meetings and she want to bully people.
What?
She want grand go. She don't love listen. That is what they're going to tell you about me. But you know why they're going to tell you that about me? Because the system is flawed. And because I am one talking about the flaws, because unfortunately in this country, you don't talk about the flaws. The men have been working for years, and that is how it is. Today you come and try to change that.
Change the whole something up.
I did not know that they were flushing clean and dirty bottles. I didn't know. And that has been happening for years. How dare you come and try to change that?
Whoa.
And remember, Nasidi, I'm not just sending you, I'm sending you the pictures and the videos.
Yeah, send them for me. Send them for me.
Let's send you the pictures and the videos so you know me not lie.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
At one point, I said to India, come to Abrek yourself. Not take for me word for it. Come yourself and see what. So when you come and you see them yourself, you are not amazed at the trouble that happen up here.
Oh boy.
And you are not going to wonder how Why are we washing clean bottles and dirty bottles together?
That is some positive at all.
Why are we wasting resources? If we're changing the supply and the demand has changed, we change our standard.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Joshnet, me know you want Lego everything, but unfortunately we are literally out of time. Before you go though, someone just sent me this. They say, good day CJ. Please let the lady know that I commend her and appreciate all she does for our beautiful country. If only most of the people working for government had her positive attitude towards serving our nation and work ethics, what a wonderful country we would have. It's time to change the attitude of taking and getting from government without putting in the work. Thank you, dear lady. What you have been doing to improve our environment is impressive. And that is coming from someone who's listening to you on the radio. This is coming all the way from the United States, huh? Who's listening to you on the radio and they like exactly what you've been doing. All right?
CJ, thank you for having me today.
And at least.
We will have this conversation as long as I need to have it because it's now public knowledge.
Of course.
And I will leave with saying, this is not a war. I am not at war with the government of Antigua and Barbuda. I want to help. I want the help of the government of Antigua and Barbuda because what we're doing is for Antigua and Barbuda, not just for advantage.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks a lot, my dear. Appreciate it. And we have you in our prayers as well. And I'm going to pass by and see what I can do to assist as well.
All right. No problem.
All right. Blessings. All right.